Oh shoot. Yeah, Peyton. I hope you're ready. We got a full slate.
You hear me clearing my throat?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Got a full slate ahead of us, man.
Got to be ready to go.
Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Come on in. Just let that music hype you up, Peyton. Just roll with it.
Oh, yeah. You know I like all of the intro music choices.
All right, here we go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's time. It's time. Welcome to the last call, everybody. Welcome to the last call. Peyton, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. How are you feeling, man?
I'm good. I cannot complain. Thank you guys for joining us today. We're gonna let the people get in. We just want to get the show rolling today, man. It's the last call where we wrap up the previous weekend. It's our last chance to go ahead and talk about what happened over the weekend, some of our crazy thoughts. Like Peyton said yesterday, if you haven't already watched the show from yesterday, please make sure you watch the Weekend Hangover. You can find that on our YouTube channel. So if you have not watched that already, go ahead and take a peek in there. But like Peyton said, man, we want to keep this show nice and fluffy, man. We just want to, talk about the culture of sports and some of the things that went down on the field as well as off the field. We have a lot of surprises that happened today in the world of sports. So we want to go ahead and just touch on some of those things. And we're going to dig deep into it, man. Peyton, what are some of your thoughts on some of the things that went down today, actually, in sports, without giving too much away? Because we do want to, we want to touch on it a little bit later. But what did you think about what happened today in the NFL?
Yeah, there was a lot of movement today, specifically with star wideouts.
Yes, sir.
Obviously with Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper. But I also wanted to say, man, I'm happy that we're past the weekend hangover because each of us are literally not hungover anymore, and we're feeling fresh and good and ready to roll. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was a busy Tuesday in the world of sports. So I'm excited to get to it.
And it's not over. Actually, right before we went live, the Houston Texans traded Cam Akers to the Minnesota Vikings. So that happened literally like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, how about that?
And yeah, I guess the Texans are saying that Joe Mixon is their guy, and they don't need a solid backup for him because he's been getting the job done over there in Houston. So
he is a bit of a workhorse. I mean, he had 30 carries in their week 1 game. So yeah, it makes sense.
Hey, and honestly, that's a great move for the Minnesota Vikings. And the reason I put that out there is because honestly, we didn't really do any prep work for that. Like, you can't really prepare for that. But I think it's a great spot for the Minnesota Vikings. They can use help in their backfield and take some of that pressure off of the quarterback. So yeah, man, good moves. But as the people are starting to pour in right now, man, I just want to say welcome to the last call. It's closing time on the weekend sports that went down. We saw close games Saturday, Sunday, but this is where we wrap up all the NFL action. When college action, when the NBA rolls in, we're gonna touch on that as well. So pour one up for us. We are not drinking tonight, but we gonna get to that next show, which is the full pour on Friday. So please make sure that you are following us on Instagram at the Sportaholics, and on all social media platforms, to be honest with you. So yeah, man. Peyton, You ready to get into all the topics that we got planned for today?
I am, man. And I love that you pointed out that the NBA is coming back. We're going to have a busy week next week, man. That's going to be crazy with basketball being back. So,
Man,
real excited for that.
not only busy week because we have NFL, college, and basketball all going at one time, but you know, aside from the sports, we're gonna have a busy week ahead of us as well. You know, we got a lot of things brewing in the pot and some surprises for people. You know, nothing really locked in yet, but if everything goes well, then I can't wait to see where we are midway through the NBA season and pushing into the playoff push for the NFL and college at that. So,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, man. I'm really looking forward to it. But let's go ahead and start. My first topic, man. Lonzo Ball is set to make his return to the NBA after not playing for 2 seasons, which leads me to a very interesting question for you, Peyton. Would you rather have Lonzo or LaMelo Ball?
Oh, I'm going to be a Debbie Downer here and say that it depends. It depends on the situation. I firmly believe that. I'll quickly let you answer the question too, though. Who would you rather have?
Yeah, so I was battling with this question all day, and for the most part, it was Lonzo. I wanted to go with Lonzo because he's a dog, and he has that pedigree about himself. If injuries aside, if injuries was not a factor, my first thought would be to go ahead and go with Lonzo. But I'm gonna take LaMelo. I'm gonna really take LaMelo here. He's an easy 20 piece.
Yeah.
And the main factor that made me choose LaMelo is the younger brother is always better than the older brother because he's been watching older brother play ball all his life. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll with LaMelo.
Okay, so I'll be contrarian and I'll take Lonzo. And you
Okay.
did say that we're taking injuries out of the equation, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, they're both great passers and floor generals. I think Lonzo does a little bit better of a job of setting up his role players and elevating others. Whereas, like you said, LaMelo is a 20 piece. He's a walking bucket. I think he's a better finisher, a better 3-point shooter to this point. But if you told me I could have one and injuries weren't a factor and I could build the roster around each of them, I'll go with Lonzo for the fun of it.
Okay. I mean, I don't think you can really go wrong there. They're both playmakers and they both can create their own shot and they can take over whenever they need to. So I think it's tit for tat. But that's a good conversation to be had. It
Oh, yeah.
really is.
And
All
we're
right.
both
So
excited to see Lonzo back this year. That's very exciting. It's been a long time since he played, like you said. So
yeah, man. Not to go too far in depth on it, but uh the Chicago Bulls also have history with players being injured and not really being their selves when they come back from injury. So hopefully he took enough time off to go ahead and rehab and he could come back and make an impact to the team. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to offer for sure.
yeah, 100%.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on. We got Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the first player to rush for a touchdown in all 6 of the games. The first player to rush for a touchdown in the first 6 games since LaDainian Tomlinson. I want to just go ahead and take this time to give him his flowers, man. I really do. And Peyton, I'm gonna go ahead and go stage front here for a second. So just give me a second. But I want to give him his flowers, man. If you watch this show, you know this is a running back that I've been ramping and raving about for the whole entire season. And to see him actually coming into his own with this new offense, like I knew exactly what it could potentially be. So just to see it happening, he seems rejuvenated. And I think he's the perfect complementary piece to Lamar Jackson. All right, the way that Todd Monken draws up the offense is perfect because you never know where they're going to hit you, and you never know where the ball is going to go. To be honest with you, Peyton, this reminds me of a revamped more powerful version of Miami offense from last year. So, what do you think about Derrick Henry's performance this year so far?
Oh, he's been fantastic. And I think the Ravens have been listening to you, Russ, because you've been the one calling for them to just feed him, give him the ball. But yeah, it's a dynamic attack, and it really starts with the option game, whether it's a straight up read option or a speed option where Lamar can take it up the middle or Derrick Henry can take it to the outside. They mix and match. They do a bunch of cool stuff in the run game. It's been a great run for him so far this season. I will say there's still room for growth there in terms of how well Baltimore can perform in the playoffs against the best defenses. But it's that's in the future. It's not like they can't do it. It's just a matter of finishing at the end. So I'm excited to see them in a playoff push.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to get really, really interesting down the line. Like you just mentioned, they're not even at their full potential. You mentioned Lamar Jackson, me as well, but you mentioned Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry working as a duo. But let's not forget that they got Zay Flowers on the outside as well. And offense is a triple threat, and that's what really makes them so good. And the more that they build camaraderie and develop as a unit, I think they're going to put the NFL on notice, to be honest with you. And honestly, this is the scariest that I've seen since Lamar Jackson has been with the Baltimore Ravens. This is the scariest that I've seen them look the entire time. So I'm very interested to see exactly where this offense can go.
Yeah, they've had some great regular seasons in the past, but there's no doubt they've never had a back like Derrick Henry. So you're right. It certainly makes them scary. And I'm excited to see them in a playoff setting.
Yeah, man. Speaking of NFL, while we're on the topic of the NFL, we already mentioned that a lot of things have been going on in the NFL, as far as moves being made in the NFL. So let's go ahead and talk about it, man. Davante Adams and Amari Cooper have been traded. This is on the back end of the Bills and the Jets playing together last night. The Bills went ahead and did what they needed to do. But both teams felt like they needed to make a move today, and they were both power moves. The Jets traded for Davante Adams, and the Bills with the chess move. I don't know if this was strategic or not, but this was a chess move, and they went ahead and picked up Amari Cooper from the Browns. So my question to you here, Peyton, is who's a better fit?
Oh, that's a good question. In a short answer, I would say Davante was more necessary for the Jets' success. In terms of who's a better fit, because of that, I would have to go with Davante. But I think Amari Cooper is going to fit seamlessly with the Bills as well. What say you?
No, I agree with you 100%. And I really don't like agreeing with you too much, but I'm gonna go ahead and piggyback off of what you just said. So we mentioned in yesterday's show that on paper the Jets have a solid wide receiver group. You got Lazard, you got Wilson, you got Williams. So with those guys already being on the team, and you go ahead and add Davante Adams. If I'm answering the question, I think Adams would be the better fit because he has history with Aaron Rodgers. Now, it's a different offense. He got to learn the scheme and everything like that. But just based off of history and being back with his guy, we saw him. I don't understand how these players. I don't know if this deal happened last night or if it just broke today. Like, I don't know what it was, but he popped up on Aaron Rodgers' segment with Pat McAfee today, and he's already in town and already back with his guy. So, one, he seems happy. You know what I mean? He seems like he really wants to be there. So that goes a long way. We in Las Vegas, we saw a very depressed Davante Adams. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Peyton. I'm gonna lean in a little bit here. but CD Lamb probably watching this and like, yo, I need some of that happiness too. Get me the hell up out of here. All right.
Oh
But with
man.
but with
Okay.
that being said, man, yeah, I think Davante Adams is the best fit. Now, what I will say about the Bills is they needed a solid number one receiver. I don't know if Amari Cooper is a solid number one, but he definitely elevates that offense. So both trades make those offenses better and stronger. But I think Adams is the better fit here.
Yeah, and to go back to what you were saying earlier, man, about how did these things actually work out? How did Davante Adams get to New York so quickly? It was funny. I saw Braylon Allen, the Jets backup running back, tweet out, and he said something like, "It feels like I'm in a Madden franchise right now with the way things are moving." Isn't that funny? Like, I like that.
That it is. It's funny, but I don't think it's funny because they have a Madden franchise type offense. It's funny to me because they suck. So by all means, like I don't really know what I don't know what to say.
And I was going to get to this later, Russ, but I laughed pretty hard when I saw Davante Adams show up on the Pat McAfee show today. But really, what's going on in New York right now is that everything feels like a distraction. Like,
Yeah,
whether it was Robert Saleh getting fired, whether it was acquiring Davante Adams via trade, it seems like no one's talking about the fact that this team has lost 3 games in a row. And you know,
that is the Aaron Rodgers effect. It doesn't really matter what's happening on the field because everything that's gonna happen off the field is so overwhelming. And the play, I think everybody also is hoping and praying that the Jets could turn this season around somehow, some way. But you know how I feel about New York and, well, the Jets per se. You know how I feel about the Jets. I just don't see it happening. It's a fire sale in New York, and they're trying to figure out whatever they can do in order to get some motion or some movement going in the right direction. So, yeah, man.
And as far as how much Davante is going to help their offense, I think it obviously makes life easier on not only Aaron Rodgers, but also Garrett Wilson and their new play caller, Todd Downing. I don't think it affects the run game as much as people think. The best defenses out there are still going to be able to stuff the run when they need to. And I don't even think it helps that much pre-snap. I think it helps the picture for Aaron Rodgers post-snap, though, because when you've got a guy like Davante Adams and you can line him up out wide to the outside and make a defense declare right after the ball is snapped, that's going to help clean up the picture for Aaron Rodgers a lot because let's face it, Allen Lazard led the league in drops. And I'm not making excuses because Aaron Rodgers point blank has to play way better. And that's been a cold take for me so far. But, man, all they had to do was beat the lowly Denver Broncos in week 4. And we really wouldn't be talking about all this too much. But here they are. They're 2-4 and they dug themselves a hole. So it is what it is.
Yeah, man. So before we move on to the next topic, I just want to say this about the Jets and the Bills. I hope they tear each other's heads off and leave some room for the Dolphins. All right. I mean, I might be high off my own supply, but by all means, I hope that we can get some motion moving forward in the next couple of games. Hopefully we can get a win sometime soon.
I'll say this. At this point, they're second in the division because the Jets have dug themselves a hole and the Patriots are what they are. So
yeah,
you never know what can happen.
All right, let's go ahead and move forward, man. Jerry Jones Jones has been crashing out, man. He's been on. I don't even. This is the downfall tour for the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones, man. You know, one person that we haven't heard anything from this whole entire time. Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I was about to say the head coach. Yeah, absolutely.
We haven't heard anything from him, man. He's probably, listen, I'll get to it in a second, but this man probably trying to stay far, far away from Jerry Jones because I know he don't feel safe. Dak Prescott probably locked in, but Mike McCarthy, he probably walking around that building with his head down, just, like trying not to be seen for real. But
yeah,
all that being said, man, Jerry Jones went off on a radio host today, and the radio host was just trying to get him to answer questions about how he's operating the team and how he feels about what's been going on in the organization. And the host tried to keep it light, but Jerry Jones, he didn't take it lightly at all. He threatened to fire the guy. He told him since he's so smart, he could come meet with all 32 teams and tell them what they should be doing in their front office and so on and so forth. But my question to you here, Peyton, is the pressure building up in Dallas? Is it about to blow?
Man, it's a good time for them to have a bye week. I will say that.
No, it ain't.
No, it's not. The noise is just going to keep ratcheting up.
No, listen, have you ever been in a room too long with somebody? Like, you kind of get tired of that person. I feel like Jerry Jones, them not having a game this week, they not traveling, they're too stagnant. And when you're too stagnant, you got to shake some things up. Ooh. And I feel like within the next 2 weeks, something's bound to happen.
We have seen, like we pointed out earlier in the show, a lot of movement today. Perhaps the Cowboys make some type of move, but
hopefully it's a move for the better to kind of salvage what they got going on this season. But I don't know, man. I honestly say Jerry Jones, sell a house, man. Sell a house. Sell a house. And I'm not saying sell the team, but I'm saying, man, listen, maybe you start over. But I think he's too prideful for that.
Yeah, I mean, my main thing with this conversation is that Jerry is laying in the bed that he made, because the Cowboys, to the reporter or whoever it was, the radio host credit, he pointed out that the Cowboys didn't make many moves during the offseason to improve their team. So it is what it is. I see the Cowboys as a team that's pretty predictable at this point, and they've been predictable over the past couple of years. They beat up on the bad teams and they lose to the elite competition. So there's really nothing different. Now, the loss to the Lions was pretty staunch because it was such a wide margin. But yeah, that he's laying in the bed he made.
I will get to that a little bit later, but I'm not going to give it to you right now, Peyton. Right now, I can't really give it to you. I got to wait till we get to our segments. But I did want to talk about and going to college. We're going to transition to college here. But Ashton Jeanty, we talked about him in yesterday's show, man. We got to show him some love. We talked about this guy being a Heisman candidate. He leads the nation in yards. He's number one in yards in college football. He may or may not, I don't really know, but he might be a leader in touchdowns as well. But have you noticed how this guy stands in the backfield?
I have, man. It's scary. It's a good thing it's October and we're coming up on Halloween, because he looks like something that you shouldn't be messing with.
Exactly. So this was one of the first things that I noticed about him when I saw him play. Like, I was like, yo, this guy, like, he usually running back stand in the backfield, they look like they ready to run something over. Like, for him to be able to go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, like, it's just crazy. But I was doing some research and I found some tweets that agree with me on how he stands. I found one that says Jeanty stands like Mike Myers in the backfield, like he getting ready to kill somebody. Another one says he just be standing there menacingly, right?
Pretty much.
And then the last one that I found it says he's standing there like he's not about to break 2 tackles and run for an 80-yard touchdown. Like you will never know that the ball is going to this guy, because every play he's just standing there and it looks like he's ready to explode. Like, at some point, somehow, some way, he about to just go on a tear. But it's crazy to say that. I've never seen anything like that before. But I had a field day looking up these tweets. Speaking of tweets, Peyton, because it's X now, is it called tweets still? Are they still tweets?
I think it's still Twitter and it's still tweets. I mean, if it's not, then what is it? You know, we gotta stick with it at some point.
I don't know. That's why I asked you. I know you're the expert on Twitter. You're always on X, Twitter, whatever it is, right? So I just needed to know: do we still refer to them as tweets?
I think so. Between the two of us, let's keep it that way. Why not?
Okay. All right. Got you. All right. Yeah. Are you ready to move on to our segments?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
All right. So we got the first segment is Drunk Dial Hotline. Do you have any drunk dials for today?
Man, my phone was not really buzzing. Do you have any?
All right, I do have one.
Okay.
I do have one. And it's going to be coming from me. I'll go ahead and spaz out real quick, right? Detroit put belt to booty cheeks, and the whole organization in Dallas don't know which way to go, right? Mike McCarthy probably staring in the mirror, and he don't even recognize who his reflection is when he's looking in the mirror before practice. He's walking around the building. You mentioned that they have a bye week this week. This man probably beard gonna be so long by the end of this week. It's probably gonna get a little bit grayer because he's probably stressed out. Jerry Jones also stressed out. Dak Prescott ready to give up. CeeDee Lamb probably looking at the team like, get me the hell up out of here. Dallas, I don't know what y'all got going on, but it's hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to win games.
That was a great drunk dial hotline. You sounded like a Cowboys fan to some degree.
Shoot,
like an upset Cowboys fan.
Cowboys fans probably sound a little bit worse than that, Peyton.
Okay.
All right.
That's fair. When I think about it, yeah.
Cowboys fans we've seen on Instagram and on social media, we've seen Cowboys fans body slam televisions, punch holes through televisions. We've seen them do some crazy things, Peyton. So my little has nothing on actual Cowboys fans, but I did want to give Detroit they props because they sent that team into, I don't know, a pit.
They didn't need to do them like that, but they just did. They just felt like it.
You know what I didn't realize because we wasn't paying attention to the game, like after halftime, they started throwing the ball to offensive linemen, Peyton.
Just playing with them.
They were toying with the Dallas Cowboys. That says a lot. And hey, round of applause to Dan Campbell, man. Round of applause to Dan Campbell because that guy, he didn't crack a smile.
No. He was all business, all game.
Exactly. All right, let's go ahead and move on, man. Shots fired, Peyton.
Yeah.
What you got?
Man, so we won't have to wait long for this one. I'm going to go with my shot fired being the, guess who, underdog Saints winning on Thursday night. Okay, now here's the thing. No one seems to be talking about Bo Nix and the Broncos. And as the people know, we don't like to get into stats too much, but I remember all preseason, everybody hyping up Bo Nix, watching him in the preseason, saying, whoa, this guy looks like a vet. Look at how he commands his team. Look at how he picks apart defenses. And then I look in week 4 and I'm like, wait, he had 60 yards passing in one game. And then we're together for the games on Sunday. And I'm thinking, wait, he's got 20 yards passing at halftime?
Yes. No,
so
it's terrible.
I don't know what happened. And we tried to tell the people about preseason compared to regular season, but yeah, I'll say this. I think the 5th round quarterback, Spencer Rattler, who now has a game under his belt, I'm calling my shot. I think he outperforms Bo Nix on Thursday night and the underdog Saints get a win.
Okay, so you're looking forward in your shots fired.
I am, yeah.
So I will do the same.
All right.
And with my shot fired, Peyton, line me up a double, and then I'm gonna run it back.
Oh,
right, and I'm gonna run it back. So that's a quadruple.
Knowing you, I think you could handle that. By the way, you'd be all right.
The Ravens will win the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Mark it down. October 15th.
That's it. That's all I got to say, man. The Ravens gonna win the Super Bowl, bro. We just talked about it. We just went over why they have a strong chance to be one of the best teams in the NFL. You know, if no injuries happen to this team, they stay healthy, I can see them taking down the Chiefs.
I'll say this. If the Ravens do, in fact, win the Super Bowl, it won't be because Derrick Henry rushed for 150 yards or something like that. It'll be because Lamar finally exposed a defense with his arm. And I think he's done that to some degree. But when I watched the AFC Championship game from last year, there were times where the Chiefs defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, said, you know what, we're going to fill up all these rushing lanes. We're actually going to cover the intermediate parts of the field. Lamar, can you make that accurate one-on-one throw deep? And oftentimes he didn't. So I just want to see him do that.
Hey, but listen, they can't do that now. They can't load up the running lanes. They cannot do that now because the way that they're moving moving the ball around, they're running triple option. Like it could be a run. If Lamar makes the right read, he can pick it up, pass it. He can pull it. He can hand it off. By all means, they got pre-snap motion going left and right, exposing exactly what your defense is in. This offense this year is so much better than it was last year. I can understand why Lamar was making the mistakes that he was making last year. But by all means, this offense is so much more innovative this year than it was last year. All right, and I think he's more comfortable in the system this year, and he understands and trusts his weapons on his side of the on the offensive side of the ball. And not only that, we cannot sit here and act like the Ravens are not a defensive team first. They've been a defensive team. You know, that's historically they've been known for their defense. They got some heavy hitters over there. They got some heavy hitters over there from the defensive line to the linebackers to the defensive backfield. So by all means, line me up. Line me up, Peyton. Ravens going to the Super Bowl and they're gonna win it.
I don't know if I'm taking those shots with you. I think you might be solo on that quadruple, but here's what I would say. I would be extremely happy for Lamar if he was able to do that and pull that off, because to me that meant that he got over the hump that he needs to get over. And I don't think it would have to do with Derrick Henry as much as people think. That's what I would say.
Yeah, Peyton. By all means, if my shots fired from this week does not come to fruition, I'm going to be on the Drunk Dial hotline.
I'll be right there with you. Either way.
I will be on the Drunk Dial hotline again. All right. Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on. We have our next segment. It's the MVP on tap. Who was your MVP on tap from last week?
Man, my MVP on tap from last week was Caleb Williams.
Okay.
That was the best game he's played so far, man. Talk about looking comfortable, looking in command, and really dissecting the defense. I mean, there were shots of him scanning the entire field before he inevitably made a great throw, whether it be to the flat or to the middle. He showcased his skill set. He took command of the offense. He was decisive. He really had everything that you needed. And there's a reason he was the number 1 overall pick, and he showed that off.
Yeah, man. That was one of the best. That was one of the best games that he's had, like you alluded to, man. And it's good to see him actually maturing and getting to a point where you can tell that the game is starting to come to him. I know that he's a very confident quarterback. I know that he has a high level of confidence in himself, but by all means, like I believe that it was gonna take time, especially when me and you, we have these conversations about, you know, quarterbacks who don't sit in organizations who expect so much from these players in the draft that it overwhelms them. So it's good to actually see him coming to his own. I think he still has a long way to go, especially as far as being a leader to his team. But yeah, big ups to Caleb Williams for being your MVP on tap. I'm gonna go ahead and give you mine, and I'm gonna go ahead and stick with a quarterback as well. My quarterback for this week, being my MVP, would be Baker Mayfield. Right? Baker Mayfield had an outstanding game. I'm sorry, Peyton, and I'm happy you're not on screen right now because I don't want to see your face. All right. So, well, with that being said, Baker Mayfield, I just want to give him his props, man. This guy's been balling out all season. In a game where he turned the ball over 3 times, the touchdowns outweighed the mistakes. And it was just a great display for them to go ahead and pick up a win. And tell your family I'm sorry if they're watching this episode. I really do apologize. I love you all. But sorry, Payday. Sorry, Payday.
Oh, that one hurts, bro. But you gotta give him his flowers. It is what it is.
You got to, man.
Yeah. So.
And it's good. It's good to see. I hate the fact that it happens in a week after they won against the team that's in New Orleans, but this guy, is good to see him turning his career around, where a lot of people had given up on him. A lot of people had, never saw him being successful. But we got glimpses of it last year. And this year is actually, he's having a more dominant and stronger performance than he did last year. So this is another quarterback who seems a lot more comfortable in the system the second year around. So, yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Big ups to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Baker, if you're watching this, man, I'm proud of you, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and move to our last segment, Peyton. Penalty shots.
Yeah.
Penalty shots is where we call out teams or players for making dumb decisions in the last week's game. So I'll go ahead and start. I've been letting you take the floor the whole time, so I'll go ahead and start. And Peyton, I'm sorry, but I kind of hit you hard back to back on in our segments, man. Wait, time out. Anyways, but I'm coming for you, bro. I'm sorry, but my penalty shot goes to the Jags. All right.
Yeah.
I just don't know if Doug Peterson is that guy. With the offense that we talk about, that looks amazing on paper, they're just not getting the job done. And I think it's time to shake some things up, just like with the Cowboys. Like on paper, you think these teams would be good or better. I think it's just time to shake some things up. You can't continue to do the same thing and expect different results, right? So moves need to be made. And this was supposed to be a home game for them, but they really got showed up by the Bears. I guess it happens on the back of a game where Caleb Williams was, in his bag. But bounce back week coming ahead for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and hopefully they can make up for themselves.
Yeah, at this point, there's no defending what's been going on with the Jags. I mean, you hit it on the head. Maybe there needs to be some shakeup, and I've already planted my flag and said, oh, even though they're 0-3, there's still a shot at the playoffs. That's not coming to fruition. So it is what it is. I really like Doug Peterson. And for the record, Trevor's been playing better. It didn't work out last week, but what do you want me to say? You want me to just give up? I mean,
no, I don't.
Hey, fire everybody. We just paid Trevor Lawrence $275 million. Trade him away. Fire the GM. Start over. Tank. We're 7 weeks into the season. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
I'm sorry, but I get it though. I understand. No, I don't expect you to just give up. Okay, no true fan would just give up.
Right.
But it was.
I'm not going to give up now.
It was just the Trevor Lawrence has been playing better, and maybe he has.
Did you see him against the Colts? And even last week, you've got Gabe Davis dropping touchdowns. You've got Evan Ingram fumbling the ball. You got the defense giving up 35 points. I mean,
yeah, you got it. You got it, Peyton. I don't want no smoke, bro. I don't want no smoke.
No, I mean, if you go back and watch the tape, Trevor's been playing better. But we got to move off this because nobody wants to hear about a 1-5 team. So it is what it is. But we're not just going to tear it down. Like
at the end of the day, we could talk about the Jags all day long. If that fire is going to come out of you like that, we can talk about the Jags all day long. I love fiery Peyton. Okay, the people love fiery Peyton as well.
Yeah, it's tough over here.
All right, who you got for your penalty? Do you have penalty shots?
Yeah, just going back to the Cowboys, man, that was a disgraceful performance. And really the thing that was surprising is that, to me, they had a lot to play for because they haven't won a home game yet, and they were coming off of a 2-game winning streak. Yeah. So I expected a more confident team, but they were dismantled from the start, and they didn't rebound at all. So penalty shots to them.
100%, and I couldn't agree with you anymore. Yeah, I already gave my piece on the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm not gonna overexpose them here on this show. So with that being said, man, that was a heck of a show, Peyton. I loved it. Great takes in there.
Sorry, I got a little heated, man.
I love that though. Bring it out, bro. Bring it out. I like it. Listen. That's what we need, Peyton. I need you to be that passionate about every show. Okay.
All right. I'll try my best.
Nah, but with that being said, man, before we get out of here, Peyton, do you have anything to tell the people at home?
Man, appreciate all the support from you guys again. And we are looking for more engagement. We're looking for you guys to comment, like our post, and really follow if you haven't followed yet. Because we want to hear y'all's thoughts. Ultimately, it is an ongoing conversation. And even though me and Russ do most of the talking here, we want to hear what you guys think too. So let us know. And thank you for the support again.
Okay. So with that being said, I do want to give some shout outs to the Instagram page, because we did have some viewers on Instagram who were in the comments. I was able to kind of talk back and forth to them a little bit, but we had some people that said Cooper was a better fit for the Bills. They say the Bills didn't have a true route running number one wide receiver. So that's true. And that's one of the reasons why, that's why I think that Amari Cooper makes the Bills better. But as a fit, Davante Adams, I think just based off of history, we got some people that, I guess we had a Jet fan in here. They saying, hey, they need the Jets to turn this junk around. So yeah, man, it was good, bro. Like a lot of people were in the comments and they were participating in the conversation. So really do appreciate you guys for being a part of the convo and getting involved, man. It really means a lot from myself and for Peyton. So yeah, man. That was
real quick, just to piggyback off of that point, there was something that we didn't get to. You know, with all of this wide receiver movement that happened today, it does kind of feel like the NFL is getting to a point where there's an arms race for firepower. I mean, we saw the Texans in the offseason trade for Stephon Diggs. The Bills go back and get another wide receiver one in Amari Cooper. And, you know, we always talk about that. Russ, you know, we always talk about this in the NBA when the playoffs come around, like which team has more firepower, which team has more scoring, which team has more star power, things of that nature. Now, the Chiefs are a bit of an outlier because they're the back-to-back Super Bowl champs, and they don't have the weaponry that some of these other teams have. But they got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So I think that's a great point. You know, the Bills went out and got their new wide receiver one that's a really good route runner. So, yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah, man. So we'll see. We'll see where these two powerful trades where they end up at the end of the season. You know, I don't really expect much from the Jets. And Booger McFarland even said the same thing. He can't wait to see Davante Adams get in the game and the Jets still suck. So by all means, man, I don't have big expectations from the Jets. They don't really look too good. No matter what they do, they have a lot of firepower within itself already. But enough of that. I think we touched on them enough.
I think you're just trying to get me riled up again.
Nah, man. I know how much you love your guy, Aaron Rodgers, and I love me some old school Aaron Rodgers as well. Speaking of which, is Aaron Rodgers the king of the Hail Mary?
I guess so. Rolling left, rolling right, standing 70 yards from the goal line. He gets it done in that respect. But right now, that's one of the only things he's doing well. So.
And he would agree. He would definitely agree with you, man. They need to figure it out. But, man, for myself and my guy Peyton, this was the last call with the Sportaholics, man. We appreciate everybody for tuning in with us. If you want to continue the conversation, let's go ahead and move on to YouTube, and we could keep the conversation going over there in the comment section under this video. By all means, if you have not already, please make sure that you tell your friends about the show. Tell a friend to tell a friend. If they told a friend already, tell them to tell one more friend. By all means, man, it helps us out Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. We could use all the help that we could possibly get, man. Big things on the horizon for us. So please make sure that you continue to stay around and grow with us as we build our platform out, man. It's really all about you guys, and we want to just continue to drive the conversation. Peyton, love doing it with you, buddy. It was good chopping it up with you, man, always.
It was, man, as always. Thanks for being a great host and expert, by the way. I know you got your takes in there.
Hey, man, you know, I'm trying to be like you when I get older. That's it. But until next time, everybody, we out, man. Stay safe.